See this big ass Hershey bar I have in my hand? You want to know what one of my biggest problems I have with this sumbitch is? It's not because of the fact it was fucking $4 when I got it. Candy bars aren't even cheap anymore. But my biggest problem, and this is one of the things I love about candy bars, it's the wrapping. This is obviously in cellophane like most candy bars are. You want to know what I loved about candy bars back then? I love the fact that the candy bars came in that beautiful aluminum foil wrapping where you got a much more fresher, consistent taste. And the wrapping itself, it was wrapped around in paper. It showed the name of the fucking candy bar, the nutrition facts, no extra bullshit or recipes or whatever. Just showed the name that it was a fucking Hershey, it was a Kit Kat, it was a Butterfinger, or it was a Wonka bar. Maybe you'd be lucky to get a golden ticket. Or see the origins of how a Wonka bar was invented. I've stated it so many times before that the candy bars that I used to love back then, instead of the cellophane wrapping, it was aluminum foil and a paper wrapper with the printing of the name candy bar that's on it, and a little nutrition facts on the back, ingredients. That's all you needed. You didn't need no promotion, you didn't need no extra bullshit. All you needed was the name of the candy bar, and that was it. And that's what the Wonka bars were. It just had the name Wonka on there. And inside, you hopefully get yourself a golden ticket, and if not, you got yourself a beautiful candy bar. And the thing is that Willy Wonka definitely made his fortune and provenance when he sold this said candy bar. Now, he released a lot of flavors later on, along with very other miscellaneous candies. But there was a few candy bars that represented the Wonka name for a little while when I was a small child. One of them was the Nestle's Wonka bar. It was basically a crunch bar, but it had the Wonka print on it, and that bar was kind of nice. Expensive, but every time I was at Toys R Us, I saw this particular bar, and I got it whenever the chance was given. And then there was a little time where I think it was a Walmart exclusive or some sort of thing that was happening where, and it was sponsored on television, where they were having a Wonka Exceptional Buzz, where if you find yourself a golden ticket, I'm assuming it wasn't a legit ticket, it was probably on the wrapper, you win yourself, I believe, a global all-around world safari or trip. I can't remember exactly what it was. But I remember that there was 3 different flavors of bars. There was the Fantabulous Fudge, there was the Chocolate Waterfall, and Scrum Dibblyumptious. So, I remember those 3 bars. I did buy one, and every time I tried opening the bar, the motherfucker broke because it was in the cellophane wrapping where it was sealed up pretty fucking tight. But I'm going to digress right there. Now, the thing is that the Wonka bar has came a long way. You had the marshmallow fudge, you had the caramel, peanut butter, Rice Krispie, or all sorts of different ones. But nothing can ever beat the original Wonka chocolate flavor. Now, the thing is that how did the Wonka bar become a thing? How did Willy Wonka get his start? And the thing is that if there was a particular story that if you thought on top of your mind of how Willy Wonka, I mean, he explained how he met the Oompa Loompas in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and it was explained by Grandpa Joe on how Wonka ended up getting his fame, how he's dealing with a lot of crooks going into his factory, sending in spies, trying to steal his recipes, and had to work with unknown workers, thus the Oompa Loompas that everybody met later on in the movie. But the thing is that in this film, an original concept of how Willy Wonka got his start as a young man coming into the city of England. Now, Willy Wonka, who was played by Timothy Chalamet, who I'm not necessarily a big fan of in terms of films. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure, in the film communities or social medias or whatever group seem to really love this guy, which is good on them. But for me personally, he's not really one of my favorite actors working. I don't really care for him in terms whenever I watch him on films. But he actually was able to make a passing for this particular movie for me. And I think this is one of the only films, maybe later on, but one of the only films where I actually give this guy a passable performance that I actually had a lot of fun watching. So Willy Wonka is a young, inspiring chocolatier who has a lot of dreams, magic, surprises, and a wish to fulfill. Now the thing is that wish is to be building a name for himself and carrying on a legacy. He met a young girl named Noodle, who was played by Callagher Lane, and Oompa Loompa, who was played by Hugh Grant, which was very bizarre looking, and a bunch of other friends along the way. Now, the thing is that besides his hopes and dreams of becoming a name for himself as a chocolatier, as an inventor, as a creator, as a magician, all the other gimmicks that he can think of off the top of his head, he's also got a few problems. He's got to deal with Slugworth, rival candy competitor. He's got to pay his rent he couldn't afford. He has to try and create his goal of constructing the most genuine, delicious chocolate anyone has ever ate in their existence. And the rest is history with what this movie's about. Now, the thing is that I tried to watch this movie some time ago. I was never really able to get it, but thing is that it's on streaming services or whatever the fuck it is. I was able to see it, and here I am talking about it. Now, my thought on this movie was, it's like I said, Timothy Chalamet, I have to give him a passing performance for how he was able to play as a young Willy Wonka. Now, the Wonka that he was playing as was a young Gene Wilder Willy Wonka. The personality, the humor, the ambition, the confidence, a little emotion on the side, because this movie did end up having a bit of a teary-eye moment where you understood why he wanted to become a chocolatier and why he learned the tricks that he does. He wanted to fulfill a legacy and carry on his family's tradition, but in his own merits. And I have to give so much respect for having such a nice little concept for that. So that alone is really nice. A lot of the original friends that he meets along the way to help him either create the candy or help him get a start for his foundation or get a promotion. I mean, Noodle, I thought she was okay for what she was. I mean, I didn't really think much of her. I thought she was an alright supporting character. She was okay. Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa. The humor was there, but the CGI was really fucking ridiculous. And the thing is that was one of my biggest, I wouldn't say issues I had, but one of my biggest peeves I had with the movie was the CGI was kind of, I wouldn't say it was annoying me, but it was a bit distracting, if that's the right word, but it was just a little bit too silly for me with the CGI and a lot of the effects, especially Hugh Grant's face on the fucking Oompa Loompa. Yeah, that's where the silliness took a play, but at least he, made it worth his while as the Oompa Loompa. It had a lot of choreography. It had a lot of musical numbers in it. I mean, I can't go wrong with hearing Pure Imagination or a lot of the original songs from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory that was featured in that film, along with some newer ones as well. It was kind of nice, but it didn't necessarily tickle me as much. I thought it was good choreography. Timothy Chalamet, obviously, you can tell it was pre-recorded in the studio. It wasn't, obviously, believable. You can hear in the film because you can hear the audio was up when it came to the singing numbers. So the sound design was definitely a lot higher than the original, what you were hearing in the film whenever they were having conversations. When it came to musical numbers, you can tell the sound engineering was a little bit more higher. That's probably my own ear, but I digress. But yes, the story itself is really nice. I like the originality that this film had. It was a breath of fresh air. It was a nice little original concept. Chalamet gave that personality of the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka. Strike that, reverse it. The emotion was there. It was It was fun. It put a little smile on my face because it made me appreciate not only candy a little more, but also made me appreciate specifically of how chocolate is made and how you can take the cocoa bean and turn it into your own little recipe, whether it's a chocolate bar or if it's a beverage like hot chocolate, for example, or just whatever creation that you can find yourself used with the cocoa bean, and how you can add certain ingredients to make your own delicious chocolate, whether it's a milk, dark, peanut butter, caramel, toffee, peppermint, you name it. Everybody loves chocolate. You can't go wrong with it unless if you don't like it. But then again, who doesn't love chocolate? But the thing is that if I had the opportunity, where if this was a real life thing, where Wonka was handing out the original bars that he had of this particular chocolate and the recipe that his mother had, passing it down to him, and I had that opportunity to chase that chocolate bar, I'd probably be realizing exactly what was said. It's probably the greatest chocolate that's ever been invented. But then again, what is the greatest chocolate that's ever been invented? I'll let you folks decide on that. So, folks, with that being said, that's going to have to do it for my little talk on Wonka. I thought it was a fun little movie. It really was. And I honestly gave it a really generous rating of a 3.75 out of 5. It's a fun little movie. I had a couple little faults with it, with the silliness of certain CGI effects. The sound design was a little bit higher than it was. Um, you know, Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa, which spoke for itself. But then again, it was a cute little movie, something that you can definitely watch for fun and get a lot of appreciation for in terms of watching Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So for this being its own original concept of a prequel, it was not bad. So, folks, let me know down below your thoughts about this movie, and once again, what do you think is the greatest chocolate that's ever been invented? So, ciao for now.